kill every day and own your fucking life. Bless up.
Hey, bless up. Welcome back to episode 30 of Deskbound Therapy Podcast. This is a huge milestone for the podcast, reaching episode 30 with none other than Bwanka over here, the host of Continual Growth Podcast. He is a growth coach, and he's all about the mindset. Today, we're going to really dig deep, pick his brain, learn about mindset, learning about being disciplined, and how you can use time as your number one asset. So really happy to have you here, man.
Hey man, I appreciate being on the show. Thanks for having me, and I'm ready to have some fun.
Yeah, man, we just did some push-ups. I had a workout earlier. Got a lot of energy to share with the audience here. So why don't you just start with your story, how you started CG, how you became a growth coach, and then we'll go into more specifics after that.
Okay, just growing up. How far back you want me to go?
5-10 years.
5-10 years. Okay. Well, yeah. When I was younger, I was a terrible student. Like terrible class, not paying attention in school. Somehow I still found a way to make it to university. But that's because I love playing basketball. And when I was there, it only lasted about a year, and I realized, this isn't for me. And from there, I went into the labor force. And I worked all different types of labor jobs, like anything you can think of. I did it, and it was terrible. It sucked. All these jobs, I hated them. They sucked, but whatever. You do what you got to do when you don't have that education. I think the last job that I worked out as a labor job was on the rigs, the oil rigs in Alberta, and with that, you learn a lot of discipline. It's really hard work, and you learn how to work hard. So from there, I moved to Toronto. I became a personal trainer, and while I was personal training, I really started understanding this is good. I'm helping people right now. I've never had a job before where I got to help people, and the enjoyment, the fulfillment that you get from helping someone, from showing someone that doesn't believe that they're able to do something, that they can do it. That's one of the greatest feelings ever. And that's kind of what led me to just always wanting to help people. And then I was a trainer for probably 4 or 5 years. And I felt like it was time to make the switch, and not just only focus on the physical aspect, but start focusing on the mental and just all the daily disciplines that you can do throughout your life to live your best life. And that's kind of where Continual Growth started. There's me, a few friends. We're all had the same kind of mindset. We're all reading, working on different habits every day. We kind of had some of our products were already created, but in the beginning stages, and we were just using them, getting so much out of them for ourselves. And we said, you know what, if we just keep this to ourselves, that's selfish of us. We need to share this with the world, and that's kind of where Continual Growth came from, and we've been growing ever since.
It's a pretty sick story, because I've been in fitness for 9 years myself, and it wasn't until the last 2-3 years where I'm starting to really dive deep into the mindset. When I'm helping my clients, we really go into that before we go into the specifics of the fitness. We really kind of go over, like the way you got to think, your outlook in terms of your eating. It's not just giving people workouts, but really I see this becoming more of a trend, whether it be in fitness or in everyday life. People are really focusing on the mindset these days. So it's great to see kind of the growth culture growing.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've worked with people, whether it's be diet or nutrition, and they've tried everything to lose weight. And it's not until we go into that mindset of why they're thinking a certain way, why they really have their goals. Because your goals, but there's always another why underneath. And it wasn't until you really do that deep work that you really start to gain control of your life.
Yeah. That's one of our biggest things at Continual Growth is self-awareness. We just say self-awareness is a must. And I feel like a lot of the mindset comes back to your habits, because there's been studies done, and about 45% of everything that you do, it happens by habit. So in order to just have more control of your life, you need to have more control of your habits, because those are things that are happening automatically. And that's kind of where the growth journey for me started. Was I decided, like I told you, I was working all these terrible jobs. I was a laborer. I didn't have the skills. While I was being an entrepreneur and just trying different things, it was trying. There wasn't a lot of structure behind it. It was just a lot of guessing and not as much of a plan, compared to once I did start saying, okay, this is the person I want to be. These are the habits that I need to build in order to be that person. And that's kind of where everything shifted.
Right. So it's not just about saying you have these bad habits and these good habits. You need to think about it. What habits do I need to have in order to achieve your goal? It's not just like I need to work out every day or I need to do X, Y, and Z. You really need to think of the person you want to be in the future and then kind of reverse engineer it. That's
Exactly.
interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we all know how hard it is to change your habits, for sure. Like, I remember you gave me the habit tracker, and I did it the first month of January, and I meditated every single day, and I still haven't stopped. But I found, like, it was harder for me to stick to it when I wasn't tracking it. Like, after the 21 days, I was like, oh, am I gonna race and write a new goal, or am I gonna? So I
Yeah.
find like having that tactile feedback is like, I don't know if you would call it like reinforcement, but I find it really reinforces the habit.
Oh yeah, because like tracking and measuring is, you can't lie to yourself. When you track something, you can't lie to yourself. If you're not tracking it, it's very, very easy to lie to yourself. Oh, I didn't eat this, I didn't do that. But that's because you're not tracking it. But as soon as you say, like, I want to read 3 times this week, you're gonna know, did you either read 3 times or did you not read 3 times? And that's where the high performance matrix comes in, because that's where you have to say, like, you have multiple different habits that you're working on and you're still able to track them throughout the week.
So at what point would these habits be like, do you ever believe that these habits can become ingrained and you don't need to track it? For example, are you just tracking things you need to work on until they become subconscious and then you have some sort of medium habits that are strong but you need to get stronger?
Yeah, so like the way that it works, it's you start out with, like what you talked about, the 21s board,
Mhm.
the ultimate habit building machine, and you use that and you create the habit. Once you've created the habit, now you move it to the high performance matrix, where maybe you don't have to do it every day, but you decide how many times you want to do it in the week. And one of our rules is nothing should ever be higher than 5. And the reason why is because a lot of times everybody wants to be a go-getter, overachiever. I'm gonna do 7 days. I'm gonna do 7 days every week. I'm gonna do 7 days. But what happens is one day you miss a day, and like 6 days is really good. If you can do 6 days all the time, that's incredible. But you're not gonna feel good after you miss a day. So if you switch and you just say 5 is my max, and you think you're doing, like, if you want to, this is only if you want to do it all the time. But say you say, okay, I want to read 5 times a week, and day 1, day 2, you read 4 days, and then you miss a day, you end up doing it on Saturday. You feel good about it. 5 is good. Maybe even if you do one extra day on the weekend, you're gonna feel even better about it. But if your goal is 7, and let's say you miss Thursday, you're gonna say, I can't accomplish this goal, and probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're gonna miss a couple of those days too, because you already know that you can't make it. So everything that we do is about setting yourself up to succeed. So once you do get to a certain point, like say, like for me, it was meditation. I put meditation, and I would just do 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. It became just a habit for me, and it's something I do all the time, but I don't track it. So there's certain things that I do. Like another one was I wanted to drink water right when I woke up. So I started, one of my habits I built was very simple. Takes probably like 1 minute, but have a cup of water beside the bed, and right when I wake up, I can drink my water. That's a habit I no longer track. It's just something I do. So there's things like that, and then there's things that are like, you're always gonna struggle with. So for me, that's exercise. And my goal is always at least 5 times a week, and that could be any type of exercise. It doesn't have to just be the gym. But I'm gonna track that always, and I'll see how I do. And there's days where I might miss 2 days in a row, and when that happens, I know, okay, like I can't miss any more days, otherwise I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of this course I took called the Online Personal Trainer Academy, and it taught us to plan your dream week. Is to like just put in what you want your ideal week to work, like when you want to work out, when you want to train clients, and put that all in blue, and then everything else you put in red, and you're like, and it reminds you like, does this really fit where I want it to fit? So it's a similar idea with the habit tracking. You really can think about it and seeing if those actions you're taking are lining up with your goals.
Hmm. And all of that stuff is all of that is that's the definition of legit taking control of your life. You're saying, what do I want my life to be like? And then you're going out there and creating it instead of just waking up and I got to go to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's not that you have to do it. It's instead you start finding things that you want to do. And when you switch your mindset to I want to go to work or I get to go to work, instead of like I have to go to work, that's kind of when you start looking at work in a different type of light, and you start looking at it from a more grateful place instead of a more, this is something I have to do, I'm forced to do it.
Yeah, the vocabulary is such a huge thing that we don't consider because we just fall into using this vocab that we see online on TV and we kind of grow up with. And one thing recently, one habit I've been tracking my board is I've been trying not to I've been let me rephrase. I've been trying not to use the word try. I'm trying to, it's very hard. I'm just trying to be like, I'll instead of like, I'll try to help with X, Y, Z. I'm trying to be, I'm going to do my best. I'm just trying to change my vocab because the word try implies that we're not enough and you're not giving it enough.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a hard change, but it's really good to be able to express yourself how you mean it.
Yeah.
It does affect you on the inside.
Yeah. I got a perfect example for you. So when I was a trainer, the word can't, I've always been against it. I think I heard something when I was young. It was like the word can't should never be in anyone's vocabulary or something like that. And I remember people would come and we would start training and they're like, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I was like, you can't, you're not even allowed to say the word can't. So I started with like, anytime you say can't, you have to do 5 push-ups, but that was too easy. So I switched that. I said, okay, anytime you say can't, you got to do 5 burpees. And that kind of really instilled it into my clients. And not only did it help my clients, it also really, really helped me, because if I'm telling people like, there's no way you can ever say you can't, there's no way I can say it. And once you kind of change that belief system, man, things just like you start really believing like I can do this. Whatever it is, I can do this.
It's so true. And it definitely takes time, but it's so empowering. Like you genuinely feel like stronger minded and overall when you change your vocabulary.
And I like too that what you said, it takes time. Because the world that we live in right now, it's everything happening fast, instant gratification. But like whatever it is, if it's really worth it, it will take time, and you have to put the time in to get out of it what you want to get out of it. Because if you don't put the time in, you're never gonna build whatever it is that you want. Like if you want massive biceps, you got to do them curls. If you don't do the curls, they're never gonna grow, right? And you got to do it often for a long time.
Yeah, you really have to. That's where it comes back to knowing your why. It doesn't need to be fitness. It can be anything, like getting a new job, getting into a better car. If you don't know your why, then it's going to be so hard for you to put in those reps and really spend the time. Because fitness, like I've been in fitness for 9 years, and you know, I thought I'd see results in 90 days, 9 years ago. So it's like you really have to fall in love with the process itself and the day to day. So like another thing I'm working on is I've been also trying to learn guitar since ninth grade of high school. And it's
Yeah.
not until like the last, I'd say this year, I finally hit that intermediate to advanced level.
Mhm.
And that's still when I practice, I go through homework and it's extremely frustrating. And I often have to remind myself like what the goal is, or like it's gonna take time, and I can't allow myself to expect it just because I'm practicing a new technique once, then I'm gonna get it. And I feel like that resonates with a lot of areas in our life. Like we think it's easy, but really it's not. You just got to spend the time.
Yeah, always. That's what it always comes down. It always comes down to the time. And like you probably listen to someone playing the guitar and it's flawless, and you're like, I know exactly how it's supposed to sound. I want it to sound just like this. And you try and do it, but you're not able to do it. And you're like, how come I can't make it sound like this guy? But the person that you're listening to is probably putting like so much more time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I noticed if I try to play for too long, I get bored. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, like if I try to do an hour, like I just kind of I lose my interest. So I've recently broken up into smaller periods. But I definitely agree though. Like comparing yourself to an expert is one of the biggest mistakes you can make because it just like you can't look at someone else's journey. And for the longest time, I would listen to songs and be like, "Oh, I can play that," and I'm like, "What the hell?" Yeah, exactly like you said.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, and like another thing for me, I feel like it was probably 5, 6, maybe even 7 years ago. It was a while ago, but I didn't used to do legs a lot. I was,
Hey,
one
you're one
day,
of those.
one day a week, leg day, and then you're sore the whole entire week, and you do it again, and you're sore the whole entire week, and you can never really get good at one move because you only do it once a week. Um, and even then, sometimes you skip it because you're like, man, I'm only making it out this many times, and I got to get them show muscles good. But it wasn't until I made a commitment. I said, you know what? Like, I'm tired of this. My legs were skinny. I'm like, I'm tired of this. I'm growing these legs out, and I'm committing to it. At least a year, I'm gonna do legs 2 times a week, every week that I work out. And from there, it grew into something, right? Like I was able to do it 2 times. My legs were killing all the time. But I think by like the time the second year came, that's where I started like learning how to really deadlift a lot and deadlift properly, squat properly. Started learning how to do different workouts, and that was when I started like enjoying legs and really trying to grow them out. So I do feel like it's time, but not only just time. What the time is gonna lead you to? It's gonna lead you to things that you can't even think of, like right now whenever you're making the decision.
It's interesting because a lot of times when you're doing that work, like it can be pretty intimidating. So I guess you suggest, looking at what it can bring you, and a lot of times I definitely agree. Like a lot of times the outcome is better than you could ever predicted.
Hmm.
But it's like, well, how do you get over that block where you're like, you just, whether you're stuck or whether you're just not motivated anymore, or you just feel like nothing's working? Like, what are some strategies you would use with your clients?
Some strategies for being stuck.
Yeah, say you have that goal and you're putting in the time, but it just like you're frustrated and you can't find, say you lose your enjoyment or
Yeah,
it's just not the same for you.
I would say one of the biggest things is like having I don't like cards in your back pocket, or just being able to remember things that you've done before. That's always probably like the best thing for me. So basically, like, it doesn't even have to be anything big. It could be whatever you set out to do that you've done. You remember that, and then build on that. And you're always gonna have something that you can say like, okay, I've been in this tough place before. Let me just stick with it and be able to get through it. And I feel like the more things that you're able to kind of stick with and get through, the easier it's going to be whenever those roadblocks come.
What are some other habits you're currently working on?
Some other habits I'm currently working on. So right now, I'm actually not at 21 right now. My most recent one that I finished was using my Fitness Pal for tracking my food. So, like I said, like it's very easy to lie to yourself. I always thought I had pretty good nutrition. I've been over the years, I've been getting a little better, a little better, but everything became real that first week I started tracking it, because I started actually understanding this is how much carbs I'm having, this is how much fat I'm having, how much protein. And I was having way too much fat and too much carbs and not enough protein. And it was easy for me to, well, not easy, but I started making that change, and I can slowly see my body changing now. So that's probably a really good habit that I added into my life recently.
Yeah, tracking is really, a lot of people think it's restrictive, but actually you should approach it from the point where just to get a baseline to see how much you're eating first of all. And it comes back to that awareness. Like if you didn't know weren't eating a protein, but your biceps weren't getting massive like you wanted, then well now you know. So you can
Exactly.
really it's really cool. Like I've been doing it I've been tracking. I've got like a 1,000-day streak or something.
On my fitness pal?
Yeah, over 1,000.
God
You
damn.
better add
That's
me up
that's
on there.
that's impressive, man. I thought I was good with meditation. That was like the first habit I ever built. My goal wasn't to get to 1,000. My goal was just to keep going. But as I started getting closer and closer, I think I missed that like 9:58 or something. I missed the day. But that was where I was just like, this is crazy, right? Like it becomes a part of your life. So for you, I can tell for sure, like knowing what you're eating it's a part of your life.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think I would have stuck with it if they didn't have that feature that told me my streak. It would have been just like there's no accountability. And I feel like whether if it's a coach or your habit tracker, like accountability is so underrated and yet so powerful.
Hmm. And that's what we talk about all the time too, right? Like consistency over everything. Self-awareness is a must, and you always got to keep it real. So meaning you can't say, all right, I'm going to use my fitness pal, let me eat this piece of cheesecake, but I'm not going to track it, because you're not going to get what you want out of the tracking. You got to be able to see like what you're actually doing. So yeah, you can't be lying to yourself.
It's interesting because we tend to fall into these behaviors versus if you like allow yourself to have a treat, for example. Like I've been allowing myself to track more chocolate and more cookies, and now that I'm allowing myself to have them, I'm not craving sweets anymore. So it's interesting how when you have that awareness, your body kind of adapts to that.
Yeah, yeah, I for sure. And I think it's good too, because I actually used to eat even healthier before I started tracking, because I didn't actually know what was going on. I just tried to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm gonna eat really healthy. Let me stick to that, and that should be a good baseline. But now I can see like, oh, I can have a snack here and I can have a snack there, and just change what I'm eating throughout the day, and I'm still gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing because it's really about empowering you with the right tools. And MyFitnessPal is a great example, and the Habit Tracker is another super great example. So, what would you recommend for people who want to, change their lives, but they feel a lot of resistance coming up towards that change? Like they're ready for that growth, but they still feel that there's something that's pulling them back. What are some continual growth strategies or some Bwanka wise words you got for them?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, because it's not easy to change the person who you built your whole entire life. Like for me, I'm 33 now. And I think I started changing who I am at around 20, 29 probably, maybe a little younger. But anyways, but you've been working for close to 30 years or however old you are. You've been working on being that person. So you can't just right away just change and say like, I'm done. I'm someone else. This is who I am, and just life happens like that, and everybody's just like, oh, you're the new person. It takes time, right? One of the things that we do at Continual Growth is we have something that's called a letter to myself, and I made mine when I started my journey. And basically what it's talking about is the type of life that you want to live, the type of person that you want to be. Because at the end of the day, everything in life, it just comes down to a decision. You can be whatever type of person you want to be. You can live whatever type of life that you want to live, but you have to decide this is what you want, and then go out there and do it. And for anybody who's interested in creating one of these, like I have one, everybody in the company has one, all of our clients have one. It's I guess it's kind of similar to a vision board, but this is who I am, and this is the type of life that I want to live. You can find it on our website, continualgrowth.ca. But kind of once you have that and you know what it is that you want to do, now you have to fight against the old person, the old Bwanka, the old David London, whoever it is that you've worked your whole entire life to become. You have to say like, that's not me anymore, and that's definitely not easy. It's something that's hard. It's something that takes a lot of time. You have to get really real with yourself. And that hurts. It's not an easy process. It's not easy for you to say, like, you know what, like, I don't have enough empathy, and then say that's something I wanna work on. I never allow myself to be vulnerable. That's something I want to work on. So it's definitely, like I've been talking about this whole time. Time. You need time, and you need dedication. You need to say, like, this is what I want, and if you really, really want it, you'll be able to find a way to go out there and get it.
Time plus dedication equals success. I got it.
Hey,
I got it. Bless up.
hey, hey, I love it.
It's interesting because you can look back and you can see how much you've changed and how much you've grown. So it's an interesting concept to think of that you're becoming a newer version of yourself because it's so true. We are still the same person, the same soul, but it's more like our mindset and our philosophy and the way we carry ourselves is what's changing, and you become more disciplined.
That's what it is, man. And I told you, I worked terrible jobs. I did not graduate university. I went there for 1 year. I remember when I used to live in London, like Ontario, and I remember some of my friends were moving to Toronto. They wanted me to move to Toronto too, and they said, "Just come. You can be a truck driver." And that was my reality, probably 7-10 years ago, right? Coming to Toronto to be a truck driver. And now I look at where I am now. Like, we have this company, Continual Growth. We're helping people every single day. We have the podcast. Definitely tune into the Continual Growth podcast if you want to hear more things like this. I'm also a real estate agent. But all of this stuff happens. It's just all a part of the process. And you just have to trust the process. It's very easy to say. It's not so easy to do. But once you kind of are able to buy into that program, buy into the process, and just say, let me just enjoy this, that's kind of when life just starts giving you everything.
Yeah, I've noticed too, the more I work on my growth, like the more things that I want to happen or come out, like I'm attracting more like-minded people in my life just by doing the growth work, and I'm attracting more ideal clients, and I'm having better conversation with people just by focusing on myself. It kind of gives other people the opportunity and the inspiration to grow as well.
Hmm.
So when doing all this work, like you mentioned, the habit tracker and then the self journal letter to yourself, like at what point would you recommend, whether it be journaling or reflection? Would it be at the end of the week to see how you did? Is there some sort of thing you guys do?
Yeah. So in terms of reflection, one of my habits that I actually built was it was thinking, right? So somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes of thinking. I'm not saying you need to do this every day, but it's good to get away from your phone, get away from the TV, get away from all the distractions, and just be one with your thoughts. And right away, you start to understand, like, whatever issues that you're having or anything, like, so much can come to you. Like, perfect example, the shower. In the shower, it's just you, yourself, your thoughts. And I don't know about you,
It's
but
the
me
best
for
time.
sure, it's the best time to think. So there's always things that are going to come to you, but you can do that at other times than just the shower. But you just got to get rid of the distractions around you, because the life we're living right now, there's so many distractions. And yeah, I'm even going to give a quick tip to kind of block out distractions. So one of the things I'm doing right now and working on is, like, while I'm working, I like to just give 100% to work. And then when I'm with friends, family, whatever, give 100% to that. So I like to just get all the work done as fast as possible. And I know my phone is its biggest distraction that there is. So all the distracting apps that I have on my phone, right when I get to HQ and I start working, I delete all of them. I'm not saying, like, I get rid of my Instagram, I'm never going to be able to go on again. I delete it. So now if I want to go on Instagram, the only way I can go on is to reinstall it, which is going to take at least a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So you got to think about, like, is this really what I want to do? And then at the end of the day, or whenever you're done that, you can reinstall. And that's just a really, really good productivity hack that I've been using. And it helps a lot. It's just, you just got to be disciplined to be like, you know what? Me personally, I know that I can't beat Instagram. no matter what, if I don't delete it, my head is going there. I'm gonna go and just start scrolling for absolutely no reason. So that's why I just delete it.
Yeah, it's the brutal force way, but it's pretty effective, especially these days. We're stuck at home and we're on the computer a lot. Social media can really pull back from your growth because you really need that time away from that to really sit with your thoughts, sit with your mind, and really just kind of let things marinate. And if you're not spending that time, you're only just going to be limiting your potential for growth. So that's definitely something I'm going to try is just delete it.
Let's try it, man. You're gonna love it, and I promise anybody who tries this, I promise 1,000,000%, you're gonna get your phone. You're gonna go exactly to where Instagram usually is on your phone, and you're gonna press it, or you're at least gonna like think about pressing it. And when that happens, understand you're like Instagram owns you. And when you understand that, it becomes easier to be like, okay, let me get this away from me, at least for now, so I can do the things that I want to do. And then you can always bring it back. But it's about being in control of it instead of letting it own you.
Yeah, own your fucking life. Let's
Own your fucking life all day, every
go.
day.
Now we're gonna finish off with rapid fire questions. So I'm gonna ask you 5 or 6 questions. Answer off the top of your head. So the first one here for you: how do you find a work-life balance without losing your sanity and feeling guilty?
Oh man, so this is something I've definitely been working on for quite some time. My I guess my focus for the year is actually focus and just focusing on one thing at a time. There's a really good book I read. It's called The One Thing, and basically it just talks about putting 100% into that one thing. So when I'm working, I'm gonna put 100% into it. Don't talk to me. I'm locked in. I'm focused. But when I'm done, I'm gonna put 100% into the meal I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna put 100% into the relationships that I'm gonna have. Everything that I'm doing, I want to put 100% into it. And I find with something like that, you become a lot more productive and you get way more out of everything it is that you're doing. But
Absolutely.
it's definitely not easy, and it takes work.
You really got to do that deep work, and just like we said before, remove those distractions, and it'll allow you to achieve that. So a big one here. Everyone always has trouble with this question. Who is your greatest inspiration and why?
Ooh, my greatest inspiration, easy. E.T., Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. This is the guy who got me started. If you don't know who he is, you've probably heard him before. He says, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
Oh, that's one of my
So
favorite quotes ever.
yeah, so when I was kind of starting my personal development journey, and I just decided that I wanted more, I listened to something. It's called "Thank God It's Monday." This is him when he first started. Now he's huge. So many people know about him, but when he first started, it's just so raw, so authentic. I used to listen to that all the time, and that was just like, go, 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 give me more, work harder, right? And that kind of like that kind of motivated and inspired me. I don't listen to him as much anymore because I feel like I got that motivation and inspiration, and now it's kind of learning different skills to just make everything easier and smoother for me.
Yeah, ET is the man for sure, for sure. Thank
Mhm.
God it's Monday.
Hey.
So what is one food you'd rate 10 out of 10?
Whoo. Jeez. Just one, eh?
Just one.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with cheesecake. I love cheesecake. I actually tried to make a cheesecake the other day. It turned out all right. Better, like not bad for a first try, but yeah, cheesecake is something I love, and I don't think I'll ever turn that down.
Yeah, it's a good choice, good choice. So is there anyone who's influenced, your growth journey who doesn't know how much they've impacted your life?
Anybody who's helped my growth journey, man, I would say most likely probably Coach Stir. He's he's my coach. We have sessions every week. We actually had one today. Brought that hot fire, but you kind of tell him this is my goal, this is my plan, and together we work on just figuring out like what are the things I'm struggling with, what are the things I'm doing well, and what do I need to do this week to have my best week and have that 10 out of 10 hot fire kind of week. So yeah, I would say for sure it's most likely Stir, and he's a hell of a coach.
Shout outs to Stir over here.
Yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of people feel like you need to have something wrong with you or you need to be broken down to have a coach, when in reality, that's the farthest from the truth. I have like three coaches.
Yeah.
I have my meditation coach, I have Carlito, I have my guitar teacher. I got a lot of coaches. And
And
it's really, that's the key.
people think that all the time whenever they hear about like continual growth, what we do, and they're like, oh, I know someone who's down in the dumps, like maybe this person would be perfect. I'm like, no, it's most of the people that we work with, they're already high performers, but they're looking for more, right? Because at the end of the day, whoever we're working with, you're the one that needs to do the work, right? We're just going to help you kind of figure out what it is that you need to do, and hold you accountable to it.
We're going to finish off with my favorite question. You ready for this fire?
I'm ready.
If you had the world's attention for 1 minute, what would you say?
Love life.
Love
Love
life.
life. You only get one life. You need to just like enjoy it, be in the present moment. Don't worry so much about the past. Don't worry so much about the future. And I'm not trying to sit here and say this as someone who's perfect and who's able to do these things all the time. This is something that I work at all day, every day. I carry a gratitude rock in my pocket. But every time I touch it, I think of something. What's one thing that I'm grateful for? And the more that you're able to be grateful, the more you're going to be able to enjoy life and find the good things in life. Um, and I think that's for sure that's what I'm going with, because a lot of times it's way easier to be negative than it is to be positive. So you kind of have to override those emotions, your natural default emotions. But 100%, man, love life, live it to the fullest. You never know, like only right now is the only thing that's probably can happen. So when the opportunity comes for you to do something that maybe you don't get to do every day, and your natural instinct says, nah, I might chill out on that. That's exactly when you got to be like, all right, let me make this happen.
I love that. Love life. And I also love that your shirt says create on it. That's super dope.
Create happiness through growth
I love
all
that.
day.
Love it.
Continual growth.
Awesome. Let the followers and listeners know where they can connect with you. It's been a great episode, man.
Okay, yeah, the best place probably Instagram. Bwanka, spelled Bwanka. You can find me there. I'm really active on Instagram. Also, Continual Growth. You can find us there on Instagram. On our website, continualgrowth.ca. You can find all of our tools, all of our products. And then we also have the podcast, the Continual Growth Podcast. We're on episode 127. We had an episode with you, which was we brought some of that hot fire.
Super sick episode.
Yeah, and also if you're looking for a real estate agent, you're looking to buy, sell, lease, you can also reach out to me through any of those mediums. You'll be able to find me. But yeah, man, all day, positive vibes always, and just love life.
Good vibes only.
Hey.
Awesome, man. Have a great one. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to have Stir on soon.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for bringing me on. It was a great show.